Thank you very much for joining me this afternoon for this webinar on Heritance Aarah in the Maldives. As always, our webinars are recorded, so I'll upload it to our YouTube channel for you to catch up on it then or share with your teams. I'll also send it out in a follow-up towards the end of the week with all the key information you need to sell Heritance Aarah. There will also be some time at the end for questions, so please do pop any questions into the Q&A at the end or throughout the presentation, and I'll be able to answer it then. But just to get started, the kind of main thing I want agents to take away from this presentation is that Heritance Aarah fits a gap in the market for a really well-priced, premium, all-inclusive property in the Maldives that is very generous in its offering. As you know, there are so many different products in the Maldives, and when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, they are all very different. But to me, Heritance ticks a lot of boxes in terms of things that guests want when they go to the Maldives. So that's one, it's premium all-inclusive. That's the only board basis we do. And as the presentation goes on, you'll see how generous that offer is. Second thing is we have a house reef. So we're in the Raa Atoll, which is one of the deepest atolls in the Maldives. The house reef surrounds the island, and we also do a guided snorkel 3 times a week. That's included for guests to go out to the deepest parts of the reef with an instructor. The third thing is the culinary offering. So there's 7 restaurants and 5 bars on the resort. So that culinary experience, there's so much variety. No 2 days are ever the same. And the fourth is that it's great for families. We have a number of family accommodation options, lots of activities and experiences, a kids club, but we do also have an adult only area of the island. So again, we can cater for that market that want a bit more exclusivity and privacy. So as I said, we are in the Raa Atoll. So that is a 40-minute seaplane transfer from Mali. And when Heritance Aarah guests arrive at Mali, they have a meet and greet with an Aarah representative, and then they're whisked off then to our departure lounge. So the departure lounge is for Aarah guests only. Here you have an amazing buffet set up. You get a complimentary head and shoulder massage. There's also a small play area for kids. And to me, this is really where the experience starts because you then get your seaplane transfer. And that in itself is like an activity, you have that iconic view of the Maldives. So this is our island. So as you can see, the beach villas surround the island. Here we have our overwater ocean villas. And to this side here, we have our ocean suites. And these are the villas that are for adults only. You can also see here on this jetty, we also have 2 bars and a restaurant. And those outlets are exclusive for guests staying in those suites, which I'll talk about as we come to it. So just a bit of a villa breakdown. As I said, it's split into beach villas and overwater villas. So 51 beach villas. We then have 10 with the addition of a pool. And we have 7 family beach villas, and 2 of those have a pool. We then have 56 ocean villas, the 25 ocean suites, and then the premium ocean residence, which is just at the very end of the jetty. So this is where our seaplane lands. In some cases, the seaplane will stop off at our sister property, Paru, which is a 5-minute speedboat away. But in most cases, guests will get a direct seaplane to Aarah. Here you have a meet and greet, and this is also where you meet your butler. So the butler service is for every villa and every guest. They will set you up in a WhatsApp chat with them. They'll let you know, what activities are going on the island that day. They'll book all of your activities and experiences. So they really just help, maximize your time on the island. This is just a snapshot of everything that's included in the villas. I will send this out just so you have it, as it's quite detailed. But just again, within that kind of all-inclusive package, every villa has a mini bar. It's replenished daily with 2 bottles of spirits, 2 bottles of wine, and sparkling on arrival. You've got your tea and coffee station. So it's very generous within the in-room amenities and everything you would expect of a 5-star resort as well. So the beach villa, this is our entry level option, and as the name suggests, we're right on the beach. You are in the water within 10 seconds. It's a very spacious villa, 950 square feet. And all of the beach villas have this really lovely outdoor shower, which I think is really special. Um, as I said, we do have these as well with a pool, and these are all sunset facing. And what is great about all of the villas at Heritance Aarah is that they all have a day bed, and that day bed is essentially a single mattress. So it lends itself really well as an extra bed for an adult or a child without having to add in, a rollaway bed. One of the things we also love about Heritance is, the design of the villas. They have that traditional Maldivian thatch, dark woods, really opulent interiors. So really beautiful design throughout. Our family beach villas, as I said, these are an excellent accommodation option for families. They're essentially two interconnecting villas, but with the addition of those day beds, you can easily accommodate three children in one room and then parents in another. You can even add an extra child in with the parents if you wish. But a really great option accommodating families. And as I said, you can get these with the addition of a pool, but there are only two of these villas. Moving on to the overwater category, then we have our ocean villas. So the ocean villas are very similar to the beach villas, except you just have that direct access to the sea. So they're 1,000 square foot. And as I said, very similar design, really beautiful interiors, and you've got that direct access to the sea as well. All of the overwater villas also have a glass panel, which you can see the marine life beneath. And then we have our ocean suites. So as I said, the ocean suites, these are best reserved for guests who want more privacy, exclusivity, if they have bigger budget. They're a beautiful duplex villa. So you have a private infinity pool, you have your master bedroom upstairs, lounge downstairs, and a kitchenette unit. And just touching on the all-inclusive package with these villas, as I said, you have two bars and a restaurant that are exclusive for these guests only. In-villa dining is also included for these guests, and you also have a wine cooler stocked with 8 different bottles of wine. So really generous in-villa experience for guests staying in these suites. And then the Ocean Residence is our premium villa. This is best reserved for bigger families, groups, friends traveling together. There's only one of these, and it's at the very end of the jetty. So you have the most amazing panoramic view of the ocean here. So you have two master bedrooms, and then you have one single room then, which is best reserved for a child or if you have a family traveling with a nanny. That villa will accommodate 6 adults in total, and that's with the addition of an extra rollaway bed as well. So then looking at the dining experiences, as I said, it's definitely one of the key USPs for Heritance is how generous that culinary offering is. So we have 7 restaurants and 5 bars on the resort. And just kind of looking at this snapshot here, the first 4 restaurants we see here, Ramba, Ralu, Ginafati, and Ambula, those are in the all-inclusive package for every guest. Hada restaurant is a teppanyaki restaurant, so we do charge a supplement for this restaurant, but it's only $75 per person, so still really good value for that experience. And then Bani restaurant then is the restaurant for those guests staying in the Ocean Suites. We do also, not listed here, have a pizza shack as well, which does pizzas and light bites and snacks. So Ramba restaurant, this is buffet style restaurant. They'll pick a different theme or cuisine each day, but a really beautiful and easy option. Raleigh restaurant then, this is our Mediterranean restaurant. It's a la carte menu. Ginafati, this is one of my favorite restaurants. Really cool design, and it is our seafood restaurant. And then we have Ambula restaurant then, which is probably our signature restaurant. It's won a lot of awards for the food produced here. It's an 8 course tasting menu. It's paired with wines, so it's a really fun experience. And as I said, Hada restaurant then is our teppanyaki restaurant. And as you can see here, it's quite small and intimate, so that is why we charge a supplement, just as you're slightly more limited in seats here. But the dine around here, it is, you can go to one restaurant as many times as you want. There is no restriction in that regard. Bani restaurant then, as I said, is for those guests staying in the Ocean Suites. It's another fine dining five-course tasting menu option. Some other experiences that we can do as well. If you have a pool villa, you can have a floating breakfast at an additional cost. The middle image here is the teppanyaki experience. And then we also do a really fun kind of cooking demo with one of the head chefs. This is when I did it, and I still use my butter chicken recipe. And then just looking at the bars, we have our 5 bars. And it's one of the things, I love about the resort. So even though we're 150 villas, there's still so much variety and space for guests to kind of enjoy. So the Bandy Bar this is kind of the main hub of the resort. Here is also where you have the Pizza Shack, and they'll also have some live music here in the evenings as well, but nothing that is intrusive on other guests. Sky Bar, which is above a Beulah restaurant. The Infinity Pool Bar is one of those bars that's exclusive for Ocean Suite guests, as is the Value Bar, which is right across from it. And then the Raleigh Bar and Lounge, which is adjacent to the Raleigh restaurant. This is a rum specialty bar, and in terms of, additional activities on the island, they'll often do mixology classes here too. So, looking at activities and experiences, there is so much to do on the resort. We have some really amazing facilities. So in terms of water sports, all motorized water sports come at an extra cost, but snorkeling equipment, kayaks, SUPs, that is all included. We we also offer a really great complimentary dive. So we have a PADI centre, so great if you have keen divers. But for those who haven't dived before, they can do a complimentary 20-minute taster in the lagoon with an instructor just to kind of get the feel for it and decide if they want to go out further afield. As I said, we do the guided snorkel as well, and that's 3 times a week, included for guests. Great games room and recreation centre. We also have a video games room here, well-equipped gym and football, tennis and paddle courts. And just touching on that family aspect again, my colleague went here with her family about a year ago. Her kids are between the ages of 10 and 15, and they had an amazing time. Her kids were playing football with the staff in the evening. They were able to rent bikes and cycle around the island. So it's a very friendly atmosphere for families. And we also have the kids club as well. So that will take kids from the ages of 4 to 12. Babysitting is also available, and that's at an additional cost. But the kids club is a really great facility. It's one of the biggest kids clubs in the Maldives, and just really engaging activities for kids. It's not just a babysitting service. We also have our Medi-Spa. So the Medi-Spa is 8 different treatment rooms. We do traditional therapies and then some minor medical procedures. Depending on what accommodation option you're in, you get a certain amount of spa credit to use here. All guests also get a complimentary wellness consultation, and you do also get a face scan as well at the beginning of your stay. And just looking at the excursions they offer, so every guest gets 2 complimentary excursions, be it a sunrise cruise or a sunset cruise. But for stays of 6 nights or more, you get 4 complimentary excursions. So that could be sunset, sunrise, dolphin cruise, or night fishing. So it just encourages those longer stays. And as I said, there's so much to do on the island. You at least need 6 nights here. One of the things that is very unique to Heritance Aarah, and it's an aspect that we really love, is the village tour. So when they were building the resort, the owners really wanted to incorporate that element of culture and heritage of the Maldives into the resort. So they created this mock Maldivian village, which is essentially a guided tour. It's a really lovely one to do with families. You basically go in and you learn about the traditional lifestyle of the Maldivian people, and you also get a traditional meal at the end. So that's one of my colleagues did it, but it's a really lovely experience to do with kids, and it's also very unique to Heritance Aarah. You can also do a local island experience. Again, this has to be inquired in advance. In this case, my colleagues actually went to the local island with their butler, and they said it was the most amazing experience, and they were so proud to show them around. But if you do have guests who want this sort of experience, it's good to inquire at the beginning because it is at an additional cost, and it will depend on how many people are doing it. And then just touching on sustainability, we did open in 2019, so we were lucky enough to be able to invest a lot into our sustainability. So we're one of the first LEED certified products in the Maldives, one of the first green rated buildings, and we're continually investing in those credentials. We actually have a beautiful new promotional video that kind of highlights our sustainability efforts, which isn't in the presentation, but I will actually send it out in the follow-up as it's a really nice story to tell. Um, and I think that's kind of it. So yeah, as I said, just kind of key takeaways are premium all inclusive, really generous offering, great for families, but we also cater to that adult only market, house reef, and of course the culinary experience. There is so much variety.